Welcome to the Wildcast Podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome back to Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast Podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, fan listeners, I am your host Adam Lund, and I am joined by the newly birthday boy, or I guess past birthday boy. What are you now, 25, 26-ish?
20 with 17 years experience.
Absolutely. Your favorite co-hoster and mine, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. Buddy, how was your birthday weekend?
Expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you sent me that bill. It was $250.
Yeah. So I went to Osaka Hibachi Friday night, and place isn't cheap. Not especially if we were at the Teppanyaki Grill, so that's where you kind of, you pay for the experience. So between myself, Megan, and Avery, it was like $210, and after tip, it was just over $250. So yeah, it was it's fun. I mean,
but again, you're paying for the experience. When Layla and I went there, I think it was just when restaurants were allowed to be open, but you had to wear masks. I believe everything kind of runs together. But we didn't get the grill part because it's tough to get. I heard you gotta have reservations, right?
Oh yeah, you have to call at least 2-3 weeks in advance.
Okay, I was like, I was trying to surprise her. Like, I'm coming home from work, be dressed, we're going out for dinner, and tried that, and it didn't. I was like, you pick wherever you want to go, and she picked there, so we couldn't get the table with the grill and everything. So we just got the normal, but it wasn't cheap by any means, which is that means it's generally a good place.
Well, it's good. I mean, you get basically everything you need. Like it's all grilled in front of you. You get rice, you get veggies, I always get choice of two because I think that's always the best price. But like choice of two is like $55.
Cool.
And it's like a filet mignon and 6 scallops. But I mean, it's worth it, right? Like if you went to a fine dining restaurant,
go to the keg and try to get a filet mignon for less than $55.
And you literally get a pound of rice, right? If you pay for the keg isn't going to give you a pound of rice.
No.
And the veggies are grilled in front of you. At the keg, you get like one, like a 6-inch carrot and like a string of broccoli. Well, here it's like peppers, broccoli, onions. It's all, again, it's like it's a pound of grilled veggies. So portion size is well worth it.
Is Avery a fan of Japanese food?
She actually cried when they did the fire.
Well, yeah.
I thought she was gonna like it, but she actually started crying, so we had to take her away from the table for a few minutes until the whole fire thing was done.
Yeah,
I found that was funny. She didn't eat any of her food, so I crushed it. When we got home, so
nice.
I was whatever. I basically had 2 meals, so it wasn't bad.
But you walked it off the next day, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So you guys, you and Layla went to Laverty Falls last summer.
Yep, just about died.
And just about died. Well, we also went to Laverty Falls last summer, but this time around we did Third Vault Falls, and this one's a longer hike down. It's a longer hike up. Plus, I was half in the bag. I was drinking on the way down. But it's more rugged. Like there's tree branches that are growing out of the ground you can easily trip on if you're not watching. There's rocks that if you step on them the wrong way you could probably twist an ankle.
Yeah.
But overall I think the scenery Third Vault is a lot better than Laverty. A couple swimming holes down there, obviously too cold to swim last weekend, but it was actually good. Probably down there we got there around 12:30 and didn't get up till 3:30 or 4. So it was a good hike down, good hike up. And
was Avery with you on that one?
No.
Okay.
No, she can go for walks, she can't go for hikes.
Yeah. And if she's going for a hike, it's a very small little hill and back down.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Overall, awesome experience. There's another one there called Moosehorn, which is even longer than Third Vault, so we're gonna try to maybe do that one this summer. And it's kind of a loop, so you literally get to do Moosehorn, and so when you guys do Laverty, you come in from this end.
Yeah, you go
right?
down. Yeah, the one end, then you go down to the falls, and then you come right back up the other end. You kind of do a loop.
If you actually come from the right side, that's the Moosehorn loop. So the Moosehorn loop is round trip like 7 kilometers or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to get to that one in the summer and make a day out of it, obviously. So
Yeah, and just for those out there that don't hike, maybe don't set your GPS to the falls, because what it'll do, well, it'll actually drive you to the falls instead of kind of where you're supposed to go, and then you end up in a Toyota RAV4 on ATV trails in and around. And I tried to surprise her with that, and I typed it in, and apparently going through backways and ATV trails, and which are big enough for a Toyota RAV4. But that sounds a little bit more exciting than my weekend. My weekend was, work, and then a good old Costco Saturday, and Superstore, and then cleaning the house Sunday, and surviving Game 7s. We've got a Battle of Alberta. It took 40 years. Well, for us, anyways.
yeah,
You're not 40 yet, but are we going to put a bet on this, or are we just going to enjoy it? And how do you feel about it?
Well, I figure if we do a bet, it's got to involve a show in the future,
a jersey,
jerseys. If Calgary wins, you wear a Calgary jersey. If the Oilers win, I'll
put on Oilers jersey.
Put on an Oilers jersey.
I don't hate it.
Or nothing monetary.
No,
on the betting side, but
put $5,000 on each.
No, definitely not.
NFTs, $5,000 in NFTs or whatever.
Let's do a jersey bet.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah. So loser has to wear the winning team's jersey for show,
one of the shows,
and it'll obviously be a YouTube show, so we can.
Yeah, we'll get YouTube fixed for that one. So you have to wear the jersey in the YouTube.
Yeah, someone's gonna be looking like a.
It's just that rivalry, like the Battle of Alberta. Different times over the past 10, 15 years, the Flames were generally good. The Oilers had the decade of darkness, so there wasn't anything in the regular season. We weren't making the playoffs ever, crushing lotteries. But now you have both teams that are very good. Everyone in Edmonton hates Tkachuk. Everyone in Calgary hates Cassian, McDavid, that whole situation. Like, this is just set up to be 7 excellent, physical, back-and-forth games. If Mike Smith can play like Mike Smith can play, we're in for a good series. If Mike Smith plays like Mike Smith can play, Calgary's going to end this thing quickly. But it's just like, that's what I'm excited for, because this is what the NHL wanted. They want this divisional to build rivalries. And Calgary and Edmonton don't need a playoff series to build rivalries, but this is just that province, and to be the only 2 Canadian teams left. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. You're going to have to stay up till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning every second night.
Come on, this is gonna be prime. They've got to do prime time for these.
Yeah,
games,
it'll be
man.
7. It'll be 7 o'clock Alberta time. It's got to be.
It has to be. It has to be an earlier game. These games have to be early.
Yeah. The only reason they aren't is because you're getting the Toronto's like.
But we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Nope. No, we sure don't.
Don't have to worry
Things
about
you can guarantee: death, taxes, and Toronto loses in the first round.
Yeah, don't have to worry about Toronto. Don't have to worry about Montreal. Don't have to worry about Winnipeg. Don't have to worry about Vancouver. Don't have to worry about Ottawa.
Yep.
And Alberta,
and Sportsnet gets what they want, because they got a Canadian team at least advancing to the conference finals. So, it'll probably be 10 o'clock our time till 12:30 almost every second night. But
I might be able to handle that.
Yeah.
It's the other games wouldn't interest me, right? So I can catch up on sleep the nights before.
Yeah.
The off nights and
the pregame nap for a fandom, which was never a thing till I moved out here. The pregame nap for a fandom. So
those are the best. Pregame naps are amazing.
Yeah.
I love when I fall asleep during a game and I wake up like 5 minutes before the end of the game. That happened in game 5.
Yeah.
I tried to stay awake, but I fell asleep, and I woke up literally 15 seconds before Backlund tied it.
Oh, really?
And then Mangiapane got the game winner like a couple minutes later.
Yeah.
So it was just my bodily instinct of knowing when the Flames are going to tie the game just to wake up and watch the rest.
I had the adverse. I fell asleep in game 1 and woke up just as they were showing the replays of the goal going off to no after the giveaway. And I'm like, oh, for Christ's sakes. But it was weird. The games I watched, the Oilers lost.
Right.
The games I was like, F this, I'm going to bed, the Oilers won. So it was a real struggle Saturday night to stay up or, go to bed and hope for the best. I'm glad I stayed up. It was good. Shout out to Johnny Rocket. Dano series win for the Kings. Now we had a good exchange on Twitter, and it was 7 games. It was 7 games, and like I said, it was a little longer than I think a lot of Oiler fans thought, but the Kings were a pesky team, and they were a good team. So, speaking of playoff hockey, let's get into some news and notes. But first, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram Wildcast Podcast. You're going to see a lot of draft talk as we get into this next month here on TikTok, and don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube. Let's talk playoff hockey.
News and notes from around the queue.
Well, you don't get to come on here and talk about Cam Russell?
Cam Russell is not a genius. We can talk about a Halifax Mooseheads choke job, if we want to put it that way. You're up 2-0 in a series, and then you lose 3 straight. That's kind of the thing that suck about a best of 5, though.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think if it would have been a best of 7, maybe it could have went 7. But yeah, that game 4. My God.
Yeah.
Let me just say that I actually stayed up for it. I was awake until probably 2:00 in the morning because there was that game on, and then the Flames game was after that. So I was kind of a bit of a, what was that? Oh my God, my days are all messed up now. But
that game was Saturday, May 11th.
May 11th.
So that would have been last Wednesday.
Yeah. So yeah, I was let's call it a walking zombie
on Thursday.
That was a very tough day for me to get through. But shout out to these teams, man. That was an incredible game, longest game in Mooseheads franchise history.
Which I should have asked and tried to find out if that's the longest game in Mooseheads history. Like, they didn't even talk about that being the longest game in Bathurst. Like, how many more overtimes did Bathurst? And it could have been like 1 or 2 minutes later kind of thing. But I was like, they're talking about the Mooseheads longest game in their history, but Bathurst never said anything about their history. So it'll be interesting to see what their longest game was.
I don't know. It was a Halifax feed, so they didn't say anything about Bathurst. It'd be interesting to see. You're right. How long of a game Bathurst has played? Because I have no idea.
No,
right. I'm not a historian like that, but
it could have been Laval too. Like, it might not just been the Bathurst team.
Exactly. These teams put on a show.
Yeah.
The goaltenders were incredible.
Matthias Rosso was 68 saves.
I think the most saves in Moosehead's history in a game, and
which I thought when we come on here last week, I said 5. I took Halifax at 5, and I thought Halifax has both goaltenders. Like, Brady James, I was thinking was going to be the starter, and Matthias Russo played all 5 games, played very well in all 5 games. I think the last game 5, that's a tough way for them to go out with him trying to skate to the puck and make that play. That's a tough one that'll haunt him all year, but he's the only reason that team was still in the series, leading the series and having a chance to win. Like, he played unbelievable that whole series. I think it was like 200 and some saves he had in the series.
Crazy. And this, he's NHL draft. I'm pretty sure because he's NHL draft eligible. And where was he on the rankings? I couldn't even tell you.
I couldn't.
But my God, his playoff performances, he's going to skyrocket. He's going to jump right up. But you know what? Good on Bathurst. It would have been. Can you imagine if St. John and Bathurst went out in the first round?
Whew.
That would not be good. I think you and I had a trip to. We were already planning a trip to St. John for a second round game, right?
Exactly.
And, now we have to. What are we gonna do? Like hope for Game 5 tickets against Bathurst, and
I mean, it's a long weekend this weekend. Maybe Game 3 and 4 up in there between Charlottetown and Bathurst.
Game 5 is on Sunday, and Monday's the holiday. So if this series can get to 5 games, maybe we can somehow get on the East League Center box office website and score at least a couple tickets.
I'm in.
If that one goes 5,
I'm in. You're right, though. It is a negative, a very big negative about a 5-game series, because that was advertised, from us, that was going to be the best series of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It was the best series of the playoffs. And then the big shock, Rimouski taking out St. John. I had the series going 5. I had St. John outlasting. I was on Sports Corner TV with Chris, and he asked me who I was taking, and I didn't waver, but I stayed with St. John being at home. But I mean, Harmla, just a 38 save shutout in Game 4, shuts the door in Game 5. It just, I don't know.
You know who this is good for? So it's obviously terrible for St. John.
Yeah.
But as I reported about a month ago, there's been preliminary discussions that Rimouski wants to host a 2025 Memorial Cup.
Mm-hmm.
How many 16-year-olds do you have on your team?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those 16-year-olds?
Wasn't this the roster that we were going through at the start of the year going, I don't know.
I don't know who the single guy on this team is.
We knew Biaka Patuka.
I thought they were playing over their heads.
Yeah.
These 16-year-olds this year are going to be 19 in 2025 when they want to host the Memorial Cup. You think this experience is going to pay off for them?
Yep.
Jesus.
And
right?
they're gonna host, which means they're gonna have trouble in that first round series. So whoever's playing them,
I said that 2 weeks ago. Jamie actually put out something in in his blogs about. He kind of did a little more research on it, but he went further back than I did. If you look further back, the host teams haven't had much.
Thing, but yeah.
Yep. The host teams didn't have much trouble in the past, but it's more so been recently. In like 2012 and 2016, and then when Halifax hosted, and then now, right? It's almost like a Memorial Cup curse where you if you're a host team, you better get out of the first round, or you're in deep shit.
And I don't know how I feel about it. Like Chris and I talked about it on the show, and I think in a normal year with no COVID and this would be a very bad thing. But I actually think this might pay off for St. John because of the truncated schedule with the 3 games in 4 nights and the 4 games in 5 nights, and just jamming in 30 games in 60 days or something. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like if you are Gordy Dwyer, who's had the team playing the right way in the second half, you give them 2 weeks off, and then. Or a week off, whatever, get away from the rink, clear everything out, and then come back, reset it as a camp and a hard camp. This might actually pay off for St. John to get that rest because they've been playing so many games in so many days. But that's the only thing I see is the rest after the series or after the season.
Oh, I guess you want to put it that way. But financially, this is terrible for St. John. I mean, they're a big market. They're a big money market. But these teams are still, suffering at the gate from COVID and, poor attendance. And like St. John had crap for attendance in the first couple of games against Rimouski. Like there were people were joking about how little the crowds were. Mm-hmm. And so they're not going to get that gate revenue into the second round, into the third round, into the fourth round. Like, this is terrible. Yes, they're going to recuperate some money in the Memorial Cup because all the games are going to be sold out probably, but they were probably banking on some sold out games here in the third round and the fourth round. That's just not going to happen.
Which you're seeing in the second round now.
Yeah,
like you're seeing Gatineau earlier today seemed to be sold out. Bathurst Game 5 was pretty much sold out,
and that was the concern with Bathurst too. Like if going down 2-0 to Halifax. And, fans were freaking out because they were like, okay, well, there's already rumors this team is gone.
Yeah.
Well, if we lose in the first round, financially, we're screwed.
We gave up all the assets. Financially, it was tough. Like, what's...
Yep.
Yeah, St. John had 2,000 in Game 1, 2,100 in Game 2, 2,800 in Game 3.
That's a third of a sellout.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not... The Avenir Center was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying anything bad here, but like these teams were banking, like a team like St. John.
But now you get
banking.
a second round, so maybe you're at 3,200.
Mm-hmm.
You get into the third round, you're at 4,000, and
you're easily sold. Like these games are easily sold out into the third round, and like fortunately Bathurst kind of got their got going.
Yeah,
and I was actually sitting around the other night. I was listening to the Backstreet Boys, and I was listening to
one does.
I was listening to the Backstreet Boys, Backstreet's Back, and I was like, everybody, yeah. Bathurst back, all right.
All right, for Briar, you have full range to take that Bathurst back. All right,
Bathurst back. All right.
well done. All right. So we tweeted out our predictions on Sunday because we wanted to get them out, knowing the show comes out Wednesday and half the series we're going to be done. So if you want to go, I'll go first. I went the Islanders in 5, Remparts in 4, Phoenix in 4, and sticking with my early season prediction, Shawinigan in 5.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on your predictions? What do you got?
I think teams winning the series were kind of on the same. I think we're on the same boat.
Yeah, we got the four same
four.
teams. Yeah.
I think Charlottetown and Bathurst are, it could be a 4 or it could be a 5. I got to go with Charlottetown on this one. Bathurst, I mean, they battled hard in a 5-game series, and Charlottetown, I mean, they could have taken 5 guys out of their lineup and they still would have beat Moncton. So Charlottetown is probably a little more rested. I think will be an advantage. Rimouski in Quebec, I mean, barring another upset, which I just don't think will happen.
No.
But I've been wrong about Rimouski before. I think this is Quebec series, and I will give Rimouski the benefit of the doubt. I think they will get 1 game, so I'll say Quebec in 4.
That was the same thought. I knew I wasn't bold enough to pick Rimouski. I mean, if you're not going to pick them over St. John, you're not going to pick them over Quebec.
Correct.
But the way they played and the way Harmla can steal a game,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, if they can get a split, all right. But I think I was going to give them 1 game regardless. I just couldn't get it to 5.
No,
Sherbrooke, I is the same with Rimouski. I think the Armada are okay, but I think they can get 1. I don't think Sherbrooke goes the distance. I think Sherbrooke is just.
If there's a sweep in the second round, it's going to be this series,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But again, benefit of the doubt, I'll give Blainville 1, so I'll say Sherbrooke in 4.
You said Sherbrooke in 5.
Did I?
Yeah.
My bad.
Unless you meant to hit 4 and hit 5.
Maybe I think that's got to be it.
We'll allow it.
I can't see Blainville getting 2 wins in that series.
I think Shawinigan and Gatineau is the best series in the second round.
Oh, it's one of the. It will be one of the best.
Yeah. I think it has the Bathurst Halifax feel the first round. Like either team. I mean, game 1 on Sunday went to overtime. Shawinigan, getting a 6-5 victory. So if you're gonna get 4 more games like that in the series, and again, by the time you hear this, we're not sure what happened in game 2. But if Shawinigan's already, at least by the time you hear this, got the split in Gatineau and going back to their rink, I see this thing going 5.
So I could see that as well. You're right. This is probably going to be one of the better series of the 4. I've got to go with Shawinigan though, just based on what they've done with the trade deadline. Gatineau is more built for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if they pull off this win, it's good for them going in, because these young guys obviously need more playoff experience. But I gotta go Shawinigan because, well, I think you picked Shawinigan as your President's Cup champion.
Yep.
I think, did you not? And at this point, I don't think you can sleep on them.
Let's go back. I know I got them to the final.
I think you picked Shawinigan against Charlottetown.
No, Shawinigan and St. John. We both picked St. John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both picked them to get to, because we figured the trade deadline they were going to load up like Moncton, right?
Yeah.
Like this is your one chance. So, you had Quebec and Quebec and St. John, and I had Shawinigan and St. John. So, but yeah, and you know what I like to see? It's kind of cool, and I didn't watch the Charlottetown game, but Quebec is going all red. Sherbrooke is going fans all in white. Gatineau had their fans all in white. It'd be like, I don't know, maybe Shawinigan will go all yellow. I haven't seen what they're doing, but like the rinks seem to be selling out in Quebec in these second rounds. The fans are engaged. The teams are engaging the fans, giving them shirts, giving them ideas going into the second round of the playoffs. It's good to see the buildings being full again coming out of the pandemic, and this is what you want to see into the playoffs. So if we're correct in the Islanders, the Rempart, the Phoenix, and the Cataract winning, you will have Quebec versus Shawinigan and Charlottetown versus, what else do I have on there? Sherbrooke.
Oof. It's a good Final Four.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Really good Final
they
Four.
cross over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be Quebec, the 1 seed against the 7 seed Shawinigan, and then Charlottetown, 2 seed getting home ice advantage against Sherbrooke, which home ice advantage is going to be big in that.
Because they're going to be best of 7s in the third round.
No, it's best of 5.
In the third round?
Yeah, only the final.
For the love of God.
Only the final, which, look at it, the OHL is now going into their third round. The WHL, there's 1 series left, and then they'll be in their third round. We're still in our second. So by the time they're in their final, we'll be in our third round, and then it's we'll have to do some research. But as far as I know, it's 3-3-3 and then or 5-5-5 and then 7, which is
so stupid.
You're getting ripped
Oh
off.
my God!
This is all because they want to get 68 games in. If they'd have just finished on the 16th, I think at least 3 and 4 could have been 7 games. But yeah, either way, that's a good Final Four, and then you get into the final, and oh boy! All right, you want to recap this season?
Yeah, it's every single game, all 68.
Yeah, buckle in, everyone. Every single game.
Weekly Rewind.
Season Rewind.
Yeah. All right, so the Wildcats opened up against Bathurst on the road. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to go through each and every game. We're looking back on the season. The Wildcats finished 28, 31, 6-3, 65 points. 5th in the division, which if I remember correctly, we both picked 5th in the division.
Yeah.
I think we were battling with Halifax, but maybe a little bit closer.
It was a battle.
Yeah.
Until
But we didn't have Moncton ahead
before.
of Halifax.
Nope.
It was 5th in the division. We ended up finishing 7th in the East. So, I mean, we touched on it in the show after the break. The first half of the schedule was much easier. It was a more favorable schedule for this team to finish where they did, 3rd in the conference, or 5th in the conference, I believe, best team in New Brunswick at that time. And then Charlottetown loaded up, Bathurst loaded up, St. John loaded up, and unfortunately, the 3 teams that are loading up for a Memorial Cup run are in your division, and your back half of the schedule is division opponents. So, I mean, it was a season of 2 halves, really.
So, yeah. There was a good. I think I said at the beginning of the season that they had to get off to a good start, because you had a hunch that the second half was going to be tough, same as last year, and they did. Right, they got off to a pretty good start in the first half. We'll give them that. Exceeded expectations, and then second half came around. Teams loaded up. Schedule sucked. A lot of the postponed games were against maritime teams.
Yeah.
The league somehow still wanted to have a 68-game season. The crush of the rush kind of got to them.
Injuries got to them.
Injuries, scheduling injuries, let's put it that way.
I mean, you look at March, from March 17th to April 3rd, Charlottetown, St. John, Charlottetown, St. John, 1 Cape Breton, St. John, Charlottetown, Cape Breton, Bathurst. Like, it's
awful schedule.
Yeah, that is awful in your division, and you're getting, and that's Sherbrooke was in the second half, Gatineau's twice in the second half, Quebec's in the second half. I mean, it was a first half schedule that allowed Richie to keep the team together for the most part. Didn't have to blow it up in a rebuild to try and get assets. Didn't have to blow it up to get assets, but also didn't overpay to try and compete to win a round. Like, he didn't give up one of the 2 second rounders, one of the first rounders in 2023, which wouldn't have been Val-d'Or, but a Moncton pick, to try and compete in that first round, and then you end up playing Charlottetown and getting swept, right? Like, that I think is the biggest save of the season, is he didn't give up assets to win a round, and
they got an asset back unknowingly in Philippe Daou that makes things, the future look a lot brighter than it did. Let's put it that way. But yeah, there wasn't a trade that was. There was no Roger Shannon trade, let's put it that way, where it was, let's go make a trade just to win a round. It was, there was no London Knights experiment, and
which was a scare, right? Going into that trade deadline, I mean, they were they had a few losses in late or December, and I said, are these good losses because you're not putting false hope that you are going to overpay, right?
If there was if there was a trade that they would have pulled off that would have, made me believe that they want to win a round, I probably would have went complete heel on the organization.
Yeah.
Right. We've said many times that we trust Richie. Everything he's done, we fully support.
Yeah.
But if there would have been a trade made that just gave us the sense that they wanted to win a round, I probably wouldn't be saying nice things. Like I probably would have had some.
It would have been a tough
nasty.
trade period.
We've
Yeah.
said some nasty things in the second half.
Yeah.
I've probably would have been fired, not from you, but I probably would have been told by the organization to take my garbage elsewhere.
The old cease and desist.
Exactly. But they're I think they're on the right track. They've kind of got their, they've got 2 seconds. They've got 3 thirds. They've got 2 firsts next in 2023. It looks good. But they've worked magic on these second round picks, and especially last year they've made, I'll say it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Etienne Morin was a first round pick. I don't know how we got him in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Mercier is a first round pick. I don't know how we got him in the second round.
Bayerjon
Bayerjon
had a few first round
probably
grades.
a second round. Yeah. I don't know how we got him in the 5th. Like the only
and then
thing,
Grenier.
So there is a lot to look forward to. But the draft. I mean, they've got to hit a couple home runs here in the second round and make these picks work. I think they can, because you've got a full season of scouting.
Yep.
Right. This is the
That's
first.
the best part is it's a full season of seeing these kids play.
This is the first full season of scouting since 2018, 2019. Yeah. Right, because these midget players would have had their seasons cut short.
Yeah.
And so you've had your scouts in every building. You've probably watched every player from the Quebec high school ranks up to maybe the United States Junior A League, for all we know.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's
just think of what this team scouts did without views.
Yeah.
The home runs they hit in the draft.
You're literally going with Bantam reports.
Yeah.
Right? From a year before, and just your relationships with
players,
with midget coaches and midget GMs and agents, and I think they're going to do a really good job of the draft. Yeah.
Well, before we get into draft talk, what a roster could look like, because I got an interesting question for you. After we'll get into recapping, we'll give the players some grades. We've done it before where we've gone defense grade, a forward grade, but we'll go through each individual player because we got some time here. Just some stats. I mean, the home record, they were 14-14. On the road, they were not 17-17. That's not right. They were. Oh, what was their road record? Now I can't think of it. Where was it? Another beer? 14-17 on the road. Another cider.
Yep.
How's your Yip cider? Advertised at every Wildcats game.
Yep.
And it is.
So these are. This is a crisp and refreshing with great apple flavor and aroma. On the banks of the St. John River, you can find Yip cider. And that's pretty.
Hashtag not a sponsor. Is it all right?
Long Beach, New Brunswick. The McKay Apple Orchard. Let's see. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Refreshing. 100% New Brunswick apples. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Pretty good. It tasted better than the first can. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the first can before we got on the show, he didn't enjoy the first can. Maybe it was that first sip.
The first
sip.
The first sip of the Yip was
caught you off guard.
Tart.
Yeah.
A little tart. Tart on the tonsils. No, tonsils.
Tonsils, yeah.
Tart on the tonsils. But the first sip of the Yip was wasn't great.
So it gets better as you go.
Yeah, it's like sex, right? Gets better as you go.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, absolutely. The first time's a little tart.
Yeah.
It gets better as you go. Yeah. Hashtag not a sponsor at all unless they
Sex?
want to. No,
Sex not a sponsor?
no, Yip
Oh, Yip.
Cider.
That's right. Yip
Not a
Cup.
sponsor unless
Not
they
yet.
want to be.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
always open to
Absolutely.
any sponsorship. So, yeah, home record 14-14, 3-3.
Did you say home wrecker?
No, home record.
Oh,
Road
sorry.
record 14-17-3, 17-5-4-2 in scoring first. Maritimes division 15-22-5-2, which is obviously from the beginning of the year because they didn't fare well in the second half. Against the East, so Quebec, Rimouski, Chicoutimi, and Baie-Comeau, they go 5-3. The West, which was Gatineau, Blainville, Rouyn-Noranda, and Val-d'Or, they go 5-1. Struggled against the Central, which is Sherbrooke, Shawinigan, Drummondville, and Victoriaville, going 3-5. Special teams, 12th on the power play, 19.8, which is a little bit higher than I thought the number would be. 16th at home, 10th on the road. PK was 76.2. And your favorite stats, 19-4-6-3 in 1-goal games.
Get it.
I don't get it either. When leading
get
after one, they were 12-5,
It can't be
1-1.
real.
Yeah, when they were leading after two, they shut it down, 16-1-2-2. If they got behind, they were in trouble, 9-19 when trailing after one, 7-27 when trailing after two. When they outshot an opponent, which by the numbers right about now, it weren't very many times, 9-4-2-2, and they were 18-27-4-1 when being outshot. So talk about a team that was playing from behind. It's, the stat that jumps out is the 1-goal games, 19-4, and leading after two, 16-1. Like, they seem like cardiac cats. They were coming back, and maybe it's because they were leading after two by like 2 or 3 goals, and then they'd give up that late one and survive to get the W in that 1-goal game. But I mean, those stats are very almost misleading.
I can't be real. They just there's no way those are real.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm calling it right now fake news. I don't believe it. I
don't get it how it happens.
I understand the real.
Yeah,
I get the real,
but it just doesn't make sense
I just don't believe it.
because 19 of their 28 wins were in 1-goal games. I just don't understand. And like I said, they could have been up by 2 or 3, and then when you're playing defense for the final 20 minutes, that's what you survive and get a 1-goal game. But yeah, it's crazy.
I got
year.
no comment.
All right, you want to get into player grades?
I'm like, what's Marshawn Lynch?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Exactly.
Player grades. You got your player grades loaded up? You
Yeah, I
ready to
do.
go?
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Forwards, goalies, decor? Where do you want to go?
The reason why we're doing this, I'm gonna just get this.
All right.
The reason why we're doing this. Player report cards was always one of the articles that Neil Hodge used to write that I would always look forward to. Neil Hodge used to always write player report cards after the season. So shout out to Neil Hodge. We hope you're enjoying your retirement, my friend. I think it's retirement.
No, he's got a new job with the government of New Brunswick.
That's
Tourism.
the one. Tourism, right? Tourist guy.
Retirement from hockey writing
Yeah,
into
that's-
tourism.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
he is. Yeah,
okay. So he's a tourism blogger or
Yeah.
reporter or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I always look forward to Neil Hodge player report cards. And so far, we haven't seen nothing from Sean Hatchard.
Doesn't mean it's not happening.
Doesn't mean it'll happen, because usually when we say something, his article's literally out the next day about it.
And just so you all know, that is not
We don't
by
talk to
design. We talk to him, but we don't talk to him about what's coming on the show, so he can write his article to come out the next day. Yeah. So we starting from the net out, or we starting from?
Yeah, let's go with net out.
Okay.
First off, Jonathan Lemieux. Just so you know, I think we didn't really communicate really well when we started doing this.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The carbonation of these ciders is starting to get to me.
Yeah.
You kind of did like first half players.
I asked if we were going to do first half players,
Yeah.
like Couture, Jacob Stewart, Sammy Longname.
So I don't have them on my.
No, I don't. I erased them once you said
Okay.
you didn't. So
goalies, Jonathan Lemieux. I gave him an A-. And for Vince Villiers, a B. Now the reason, let me just one thing clear. Some of these marks I'm about to give are not based on, they're not performance based.
no.
They are performance based, but they could also be based on playing time. So, you know, we could get to Nathan Casey, and Nathan Casey's only played what? 8 games all year or something like that. I don't know. Just seems
No,
like
that's or 20.
20. Okay.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He was hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
So I can't go and give him an A.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go and give him an A because he scored,
Yeah.
right? But I can't do that. So when I give Filion a B, I'm giving Filion a B based on performance. And I'm also giving him a B because I also think he should have been playing more. So that might want to go towards the coaching staff. But for one thing we didn't do, these are player report cards, not coaching staff report cards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, A- to Jonathan Lemieux and a B to Vince Filion.
I give Jonathan Lemieux a B-. He was brought in as the goaltender to get more starts, get the wins, put the team on his back, and he did. And when he played well, he played extremely well. But some nights were tougher on him. And again, you're playing behind a young D-core, but the nights that he kept us in there, with a B. I agree 100% with you on Filion, which is why I just kind of kept it right at the level of a C+. And that's just because he had a tough start to the year, but then he played that Shawinigan game in front of his family, and he kind of got on a bit of a roll. And when he was playing very well. But again, he wasn't playing as much as we thought. And now we're in a situation where our expected number one goalie going into the season, and again, we don't make any of these decisions, as played one playoff game, and it technically wasn't a playoff game. It was a New Brunswick tournament random game. Like, it didn't really count as a playoff game. So that in itself kind of scares me, as well as who knows what the league rules could be. We could have 20-year-old goaltenders not count as your 3 20-year-olds, right? And then you're bringing in another 20-year-old. So that kind of scares me. But Filion has showed that when he's playing well and he's on and the D-core is going to grow together and they're just going to get better in front of him, he's going to be a better goaltender. So I kept it right at the level of, couldn't quite get to the B, so C+ was right there for him, because he had a tough first half, but a much, much better second half for Filion. It's exciting to see what he brings next year.
I thought my B was going to be was tough on him. Man.
Yeah. It's just because it was C+ because he just didn't play as many games as we thought he was going to play.
I get it. He's that orange. He's like orange juice, right? It's all about the vitamin C. It's about C+.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Drink apple juice because OJ will kill you.
Oh, let's go to the D-core. Oh, I love it. Let's go to the D-core. Anthony Hamel, I went with a B.
Yeah, I'm going. I gave him a B+. Just because I saw him in the second half be a leader.
Yeah.
Right. He was the leader that the team kind of needed. Because there was another defenseman back there that was brought in that
we'll get to
next on my list here, but should have been more of a leader that he wasn't.
And I think, and for me, the being a leader, which I didn't even think of, but well done. You always put that thing together. I mean, the guy blocked a shot with his head.
Yes.
Like, the guy, and you can see he's bringing Iasenza along. They were partners basically all year when he was healthy. If he was injured, Iasenza was playing with other guys. But when it was Hamel and Iasenza. And I think for the first month and a half, they started every game. They were on the starting lineup. So this is a guy that is going to be, I'll stake that, is going to be one of our 20-year-olds. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a C on his chest next year. But again, they could go with someone who's going to be here for a couple more years after.
He better have a C on his jersey.
Yeah, I would.
Year.
Yeah, I could see him being announced secretly right at the home opener instead of letting us know beforehand. But all right, who you got next?
Because
I put
good old Jackson Bellamy.
All right. Yeah. We're gonna both agree on this one.
Jackson. What do I want to sell about you, Jackson? Let me just start off by saying, Jackson, you got my lowest grade.
Mine too.
I gave you a D because I'm too nice. I gave you a D, Jackson, because I expected more from you When you were here at 16, I saw your potential, and what you did in Sherbrooke, what you did in Bathurst, had me excited. It wasn't that trade. It wasn't a trade that I thought was going to try to win him a first round.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that trade as being that reason why he was brought in. I can't count on my two hands how many times he could have prevented a goal. I think every time, we watch we don't watch the games together, Adam.
Yeah.
But we kind of indirectly watch the games together because we were always sending each other a message about something he did that allowed a goal.
Yeah.
And so that's just he was below expectations. If you want to compare him to something, a joke I used to when I was a kid going to school. You were either a outstanding student.
Yeah.
You were a good student. You were an above average student. Or you were needs improvement. And I remember going up to my gym teacher one time. And I said, I expected to get... It was my gym teacher, so it was my English teacher. And I said...
Oh, your English teacher. Yeah, that makes more sense.
So I said, I expected to know. I thought I was an outstanding student, and he said the only O you'd get is outstanding in the hallway. So
yeah,
it was just for me. It was a trade I was kind of looking forward to. Because I knew what he could have had. What he could have done. He has a blistering shot. He never used it.
Yep.
When he did, it was into a shin pad. There was opportunities when he could have prevented goals, but somehow it ended up in the back of the net. So it just, for me, D.
Yep. I'm right there with you at lowest grade. Like I said when we had Richie on, this is a guy that you're bringing into the power play to be the quarterback, to be the shot on the power play. And I didn't see it all that often. There was... it was always, he's got that style where it seems lackadaisical, and it's just that style. I don't think that's who he is, and I don't think that's the type of player he is, but he's just got that style. And, like you had said, like as a 16-year-old, you could see the potential, and you saw him in Bathurst, you saw him in Sherbrooke, and you were excited that was a piece on the back end to kind of stabilize things. And, it just didn't work out, and he didn't play that much power play time, which I think he was kind of brought in to do. And so yeah, I'm kind of, for all the reasons with you, I believe the same there. What's next on your list?
I have Morat, and for me,
I have an A.
I have an A as well
because I can't see what more he could do.
He did it all.
Yeah.
Highest scoring 16-year-old defenseman in franchise history. Sixth in scoring amongst 16-year-old defensemen in the queue, like the entire league.
Yep.
In the past 20 years. I think as the season went on, his production went down. A lot of his production was in the first half. But still, you can't ignore what he did as a rookie.
Yeah. He really flourished when he got up to the top line.
Yeah.
When they were trying to shelter him with the 5-6 minutes, you were like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, he's coming along slowly. Then when they put him on that top line with Sammy Longname and DeGrossier, he was allowed to be that offensive defenseman where, and I think that's what they kind of expected with Bellamy, is he was going to be the defensive guy to stay back and allow Moran. And we're not in that room. We don't know. We gave Bellamy a D grade, but maybe in that room for Moran, he was an A because he's showing him how to lead and be a locker room guy, and that's what you want to bring in. But on the ice, once he was able to be offensive, you had him as your rookie of the year. I had Auger as mine. So in neither one of those guys, you have an issue. You can have an issue with in their quote unquote rookie season. But you kind of saw a glimpse of the future with him and Grenier playing together a few times. He was on the power play, whether it was first or second power play all year. I'm with you. I don't know what more he could have done.
No, he's just one of those players that. He's top pairing next year.
Yeah.
If he's not top pairing, he's second pairing. He's gonna get tons more playing time. You hope his production increases. And you know what? I'll make a bold prediction.
Ooh.
Under 18 tournament this summer. He's on it.
Nice.
Team Canada.
Perfect. Let's go Iasenza. Iasenza, I gave a C because they're just sometimes he had the tough penalties, a little less than last year. When he was playing with Hamel, he was the toughest. He's the guy that stood up for his teammates. He had a couple tough penalties early on in St. John, but then he played really well after that. He had the giveaway against Shawinigan. He played well after that. So you can see him growing and learning and developing into what I predict is likely, if it's not Morin and Grenier, it's Hamel and Iasenza in the top pair next year as the defenseman. And that's where I see him. He's developing just on the plane that this club wants him to.
I was a lot more generous than you.
Yeah.
I have him at a B. I gave him a B because while I agree that he did take some not so smart penalties, his progression this year compared to last year just skyrockets. If I see him getting the puck behind the net, skating out, I'm expecting him to get as far as the red line and getting it dumped in. There's some defensemen who I could say, oh crap, he's going to do something that's going to cause a turnover. But Iasenza's mobility, just his mobility, like I have confidence seeing him rush the puck. So that's kind of why I was a little more generous. I looked at the penalties, but I'm kind of offsetting those penalties with the fact that he's also bringing a offensive side of the game that I didn't expect to see out of him.
Right. Pilat.
Pilat gave him a B-. I expect a lot more from him. He went to an NHL training camp. Wasn't that training camp, rookie camp with Montreal. So I expected him to have a big year.
Yeah.
There was those couple games there where he got timely goals to tie it up. He even was good enough to get a nickname. But just didn't, I expected more. If he would have had a better season, he probably would have got probably a B+. But
Would you give him B-?
Yeah, underwhelming.
Yeah.
One word for his season was underwhelming. To the point where I don't know if he's gonna be back as a 20-year-old next year. That kind of feeling. That's the kind of feeling I have, is that I expected a lot more, but it was like he last season he was exceeded expectations. This season was below expectations. And when you're a rebuilding team, your progression has to go up, and his didn't.
Yep. Yeah, I had a C. Just the same. Him and Iasenza, the same kind of, Iasenza had the tough first half of the year. Pilat kind of had a tougher second half. The injury didn't help. But yeah, when we talked at the end of last year, I think we had Pilat as if he wasn't the 1-2 guy, he was the third defenseman. And, he was kind of not quite the third defenseman this year. And so I gave him a C. Connor Olsen.
I can see we're both kind of.
Yeah. I'm debating if I want to change my grade. I went with C-, and it just there's so many. He's kind of like, oh man, how do you find the words? In the offensive zone, he's okay. Mm-hmm. He gets the shot to the net, and he's on the rush. He can get the puck to the net. He can get the puck into the zone. It's just in front of the net. It just seems like, for a bigger guy, he's not that mean, and maybe that's just not his personality. I don't know. I've never talked to him, but on the ice, it seemed like there was a couple times where you're just like, why are you going that way? And the puck comes out and there's somebody, or he's not pushing guys in front of the net or not tying up sticks. So just, I don't expect him to be here as a 20-year-old next year. Maybe come in the camp and compete, but I don't expect him to be here as a 20-year-old. And there's more nights that I left the rink annoyed at something that happened with 2-7 on the ice than there wasn't. So I didn't give him a D, but I gave him a C- because there were times, and in the offensive zone, he's okay. And again, like I've always said with Connor Olsen, if he's playing 5-6 D minutes, he's fine. It's when, like last year with DeYoung getting injured and he had to play extended minutes, that's when he gets in trouble. But that's for me, a C-.
You took the words out of my mouth, so I'm just going to say I gave him a B-.
Oh, B-. Okay.
Yeah. I'm too nice sometimes.
Yeah. Darcy?
Darcy is a B+ for me.
Darcy is a B+ for me as well.
It seemed every time he played, something happens. Every time he's on the ice in the offensive zone, something happens.
Yep.
He just has an offensive awareness to his game that excites me, intrigues me, and just leads me to believe that, I think I said earlier in the show that I want to correct myself right now because I just realized the error I said.
Mm-hmm.
I said that I don't think Pilat will be back as a 20-year-old next season.
He's 19.
He's 19.
That's what I kind of looked at. Yeah.
I just realized that. I'm literally not looking at his age. I'm looking at the Pittsburgh and New York Game 7. But honestly, if at this point, if you're looking at a 19-year-old defenseman to bring back next year between Pilat and Darcy, I'm going Darcy.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why the age thing just clued into me is because of that talking point I was just about to bring up. So if there's between those two, if there's a 19 to bring back next year, I'm going Darcy. A, right shot. B, something always happens when he's on the ice.
Yep. A, right shot. B, something happens on the ice. C, he brings that layer.
And he's
of
got
toughness.
beautiful eyes.
He does.
I mean,
yeah.
If you've never looked at this guy, I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a second here to acknowledge the fact that Thomas Darcy has some of the nicest eyes you will ever see. Like, they are so blue.
Did that factor
like,
into
if
his
hockey
grade?
doesn't work out for this guy, he's going GQ. Let's put it that way.
Did that factor into his grade? B for blue eyes?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right? Let's go back to the hockey talk
So
here.
C, when he was on that second power play, and maybe that's part of your things were happening, but in the second half, like in the late April kind of season, he was on the second half, or second power play before he got injured. And as abysmal as the power play was, Thomas Darcy as a quarterback was moving the puck where it needed to go. So yeah, I like his offensive ability. I joked with his billet that sometimes it's not the fastest offensive ability, and you're not sure if he's going to dump it in, and maybe he's not sure what he wants to do, and then all of a sudden, hey, the puck's in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I give him a B+. Last one for the D-core, and then we'll go to the forwards. Ethan Dolomont.
Ethan,
I kind of gave him a C for just incomplete because he wasn't playing a lot.
I give him a B, and I think it's a lot of the reason that, again, it just seemed like every time he's like, not every time he was on the ice, but every game he scored. Like, it just every time I look, like, I know he didn't score much, but it's like every time I watched him, every time I watched a game, he scored a goal. So maybe I have to start watching games more.
Maybe.
It literally just felt
Yeah.
that he was scoring every time I watched a game. And I know he was drafted for his offensive ability. And I think when he was picked, the one thing I said was, if he plays in this league, it's because he's going to act like a fourth forward. And he literally acts like a fourth forward.
Yeah, you can see that.
But still defensively, he's made the odd mistake here and there. But nothing that's really been detrimental to the team.
No.
Right? His mobility is so good. his lateral movement is so good that he can recover. He can make up for his mistakes. He can get back to the puck. So he lacks like a fourth forward. And if you're crunching numbers next year and you're trying to find, you gotta make room for a Darcy. You've got to make room for a Hamel. You got to make room for a Morin and a Grenier and an Iasenza. You're looking at players who can maybe step in a forward role. Darcy or Dolmont.
And if there's a team that loves to have that seventh defenseman or eighth defenseman to step into a forward role, it's from Aspero to Darcy, and then I gave Dolmont a C. He has the potential to. He could have had a B for me, but he just 27 games out of 68, so he just didn't play enough to get a good grade. And then, like you said, the games he did play, he was very good, and you could see his end-to-end rushes. And I think he's going to be that. Trying to think of a defensive, like a McAvoy type defenseman. Just smaller, make things happen, very good with the puck. And I think that's what his ability can be. So moving into next year, that's where he could be that B-level player just playing each and every night. But we're gonna split this thing into 2 episodes because we're almost at an hour and we've only got forwards and defensemen in the start of the show. So tune in tomorrow. We will have the forwards, stick tap of the week, Wildcast of the week, and a quick question that you don't want to miss.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.